Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video where Wyatt just talks about random NFL news, or for that matter, just scrolls on NFL Reddit because that's what I'm doing today. A lot of stuff to talk about, good and bad going on right now. Before we start the video off though, I just want to address the amount of people who are reaching out to me regarding my Twitter account. Guys, I'm not banned, I'm not suspended or anything, I just don't use the app anymore. It's not a nice place, and anything I tweet, the replies have nothing to do with the actual post. It's just people trying to argue and one-up each other to give themselves moral support. Like, it's toxic. So now that I've talked about that really quick, just to run through the plugs, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks. You can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Now I'm done yapping, let's get into talking about what's going on in the NFL. Alright, so the first piece of news we're going to be going over is the really bad piece of news, and it's the fact that there was a shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Like, this is ridiculous, man. This is what I mean when I say I'm afraid to go to, like, concerts and big venues, big events, because this shit can happen at any time. It says right here, the shooting that left 22 people with gunshot wounds and a woman dead started as a dispute between several people. So, an argument. As of yesterday, the chief of police has confirmed that the 22 surviving shooting victims range between 8 years old and 47, but at least half were under the age of 16, so kids. And I don't know if you're like me, man, I got little cousins, but I know people got brothers, they got sisters. Who you love, imagine one of them being there around that, or, you know, worse. Where is it safe to go? We don't need to read more into the details on it or anything. I did see that 3 people total have been arrested now. Throw them all in prison for life. Like, why? I'm so sick of hearing about shootings. And I'm not gonna get into gun laws or anything political like that. Like, just stop killing each other. This world is seriously going to hell. Alright, moving on to some brighter news here. The Seattle Seahawks seem to have committed to Gino Smith, or at least having him on the roster and paying him next season. Per Adam Schefter yesterday, Gino Smith, who still had $12.7 million in his contract that became fully guaranteed on Friday, so today, was informed that he will remain on the roster through this week, allowing that money to trigger. Now, does this mean 100% stone cold guaranteed that he will be their starter this year or the entire season? No, they can trade him. They can still draft a quarterback to try and replace or compete with him. Still allowed to look at free agents, but it just means that Gino Smith, no matter what, is going to be paid $13 million this year. I don't think it's a bad deal either. Like, Gino can play, and at an absolute worst case scenario going into next season, he's still your quarterback. Especially with how free agency's looking, you know, very thin this year. I think that this was a good move. Moving on to the next piece of news, apparently Cleveland's golden boy, DeShaun Watson, might have to testify yet again in a lingering sexual misconduct case. Like 3 years ago that you guys signed him and we're still doing this. It actually says right here, 3 years ago next month, Browns quarterback DeShaun Watson faced an avalanche of lawsuits alleging sexual misconduct during massage therapy sessions. Most of the cases have settled, but one of the lingering cases, Watson might have to testify again. It says a further testimony from Watson has been filed. Attorney said the original deposition ended after 2 hours and 14 minutes because the attorney Rusty Hardin instructed Watson not to answer questions about the other cases filed against him. Now, it does go on to explain that lawyers routinely instruct their clients to not answer questions, but they will always risk what is happening right now. And that is the position to be challenged and the witness to testify yet again. For me, it's just, I can't get over how Cleveland is still dealing with this. I legitimately don't think it'll ever go away. Like, it will be there forever. The rest of his career, wherever he is, dirt is gonna constantly be thrown at him, and honestly, rightfully so. All right, next thing we're gonna go over is how utterly terrible George Kittle has been in the NFL playoffs. Right here, confirmed by StatMoose, Kittle has only had 33 catches for 455 yards and has scored 2 touchdowns out of 12 games in the playoffs in his career. That ain't good, and there is no denying that. And if you wanna know my honest thoughts on George Kittle now, like my honest thoughts. I don't think this shit matters one bit. He is a phenomenal tight end. Some people are just like this in the playoffs. Man, look at his targets. He's not even getting a lot of them. Guarantee if you look deeper into his playoffs, he is out there blocking, distracting, doing whatever he's told and smiling through it all because he don't care. He just wants to win. As much as I love Stephon Diggs, we can't act like he's been some gem in the playoffs outside of the Minneapolis Miracle. Shit, if you take that away, he's only had 800 yards and 3 touchdowns out of 14 games. This is why playing on the grand stage can sometimes suck, because you get all the eyeballs watching you and majority of them have no idea what they're talking about. George Kittle's still a top 2 tight end. Next up, we got news with the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been suspended for the entire I'm just kidding. Actual good Lion news about St. Brown here. The Lions and St. Brown are in discussions that would give him a contract extension of at least 3 years with an annual salary of $25 million. Then it says right here, and rightfully so, extending St. Brown is a priority of the Lions as they enter their offseason. I'm gonna assume there's a lot of people that are saying this is an overpay, when you have no idea that this is pretty much just gonna be the norm at this point. Also, I do not believe it is an overpay. He is incredibly good. You got guys like Tyreek, Devontae Adams, Diggs, whatever Jamar Chase is gonna get. Like, this will probably be the highest contract in the league for a total of 3 weeks. It's gonna be just like the quarterback game. You know how we just constantly hear every week in the offseason how so-and-so is now the highest paid player in that position. Same thing here, and I'm not arguing it. Great players should get great contracts. All right, next up, we're going to take a peek at this cool graphic of notable Hall of Famers for next year. I'll go through and give you guys 4 out of this list that I think are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. So I'm going to go Luke Kuechly, Eli, Adam Vinatieri, and Terrell Suggs. I actually think Marshall Yanda has an incredible chance to go too. He played a long time on the Ravens, won a Super Bowl. I think he was a multi-time All-Pro. But for first ballot, if you look at this picture, I think that's going to be my final answer. And nothing against Earl Thomas or Beast Mode. They're going to be Hall of Famers someday. Could be first ballot Hall of Famers. But I just think looking at especially this list along with everybody else that they're going to be competing with to get in, they might probably not make it next year. I'm actually making a video about retired players that should be coming out soon. What do you guys think about this? Moving on, this will be kind of an older piece of news, but I never did react to this. The Cowboys have hired Mike Zimmer as their new defensive coordinator. Not gonna lie, I think this is actually gonna be really good. I think I said this talking about someone recently. Some people are just not meant to be head coaches, even though he was a good head coach. You can go look at his record. Like, he was a dang good head coach. He just had awful tendencies. But putting him in a position where he focuses just specifically on his defense, I think it's gonna be good. And also, if you didn't know, Zimmer had previously worked in Dallas, it says here, from 1994 to 2006. So he's no stranger to that organization. I'm excited to see what happens. I really am. This is a good bit for Steeler fans. Kenny Pickett is the only quarterback in the Super Bowl era with a passing touchdown rate under 2% among 335 dudes who have attempted over 500 career passes. Pickensburg, what are you saying about that one, my friend? Oh man, I clicked on this one because I was excited to say my answer and this guy already said it, but we're gonna discuss it anyway. It said, who is the worst quarterback who had a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl but didn't? Immediately I thought of Blake Bortles when they went to the AFC Championship. Dude, he was awful. That was the Saxonville Jaguars year, dude. If he would have won a Super Bowl, without a doubt, he would be the worst in the history to do it. This guy said 2018 Mitch Trubisky. Was that the year of the double doink? Another one I think of would probably be Tim Tebow as well. I don't know how deep they went, but didn't they win a playoff game with him once? Denver, I'm talking. Like, that had to have been up there. That guy was fucking horrible. And the last discussion we're gonna have is, what if the NFL had conference MVPs? For those who don't know, baseball has 2 MVPs, the American League and the National League. And I've actually had this thought before, like, what if the NFL had them? Well, personally, I would hate it. I hate that baseball has 2. How can there be 2 best players in the league? There's 1! Anyway, though, this guy did go through a concept and give us what it would look like throughout certain years if there were 2 MVPs in the NFL. Like this year, he had Lamar and Dak. Last year, Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. 2021, nobody and Aaron Rodgers. And Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. Lamar and nobody. Am I missing a joke there? Mahomes and Drew Brees. Brady and Gurley. Brady and Matt Ryan. Brady and Cam Newton. J.J. Watt and Aaron. I mean, he really goes all the way down here. It's a decent concept, but again, it just revisits my original thought of, how is there 2 best players? Like, there can't be. You could have AFC Player of the Year, NFC Player of the Year, but only 1 most valuable player, and that is my TED Talk. Alright guys, that is going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed this, you already know what to do to show support and turn that bell on. I try and post on this channel as often as I can. However, with everything I said, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can get a kickstart to your weekend. Have a great weekend at that, and as always, I will see you in the next video.